why you came here and you decided to come and talk to the Iranian or the American side in this special occasion?
Well, we want our presence to be known. We want on both sides for the U.S. and Iran to understand that this is a historic opportunity. Iran and the U.S. in over 30 years have not had this much effort to sit across the table from each other and have this communication. I know it's regarding the nuclear negotiations, but we know and have been told by the State Department that Amir's case is always raised on the sidelines of these talks. And so we hope that by our presence here in Vienna that we can show that our family is putting more pressure. We want to use this effort and time for leverage for the U.S. to talk to Iran and to use their allies here with the European government officials that are also here to reach out to Iran and support our effort to bring Amir home.
And have you reached to the Iranian delegation to talk to them yet?
Yes, we've made efforts as we feel like we've exhausted every option. We've written letters. We've reached out to the ambassadors here. We've also made requests through the UN mission, and we've done everything that we can. We know that our lawyer in Iran has also done a lot for us in the foreign ministry in Iran. He's reached out to President Rouhani's office and has written letters to the supreme leader. We know that there is effort being made, but we just want to make sure that our voice is heard.
And have you received any response?
Sadly, our family has never received any response from government officials from Iran, and that's what's been very frustrating because we've received response from the U.S. government on what their effort has been. They've always updated us on who they've reached out to, who they've spoken with, but when we've reached out to the Iranian officials, we've never received any letters or phone calls or anything to reassure us that they understand our concern, that they're aware that our father is sick, that, you know, these things mean a lot to us, and we just want to know that our voice is being heard. So if anything, just us coming here and showing that we are not going away, we want to make sure that they understand that this is a very critical time for our family.
Do you think if any kind of deal would reach here in Vienna would help the situation of your brother in Iran or not?
You know, I can't talk from a political standpoint, but I know that we've been told that it can only help. I want to believe that. I obviously, I have family in Iran. I want diplomacy for Iran and the U.S. and everything to move forward. But I also don't think it's fair that Amir's case and the resolution for his case should have anything to do with this. I think that the reason why we're here is not to emphasize that it has to be a part of this deal, but that we want to make sure that they understand that whether this deal goes through or not, Amir needs to have a voice. He needs people to defend him, and that this case needs to be resolved. In fact, Amir himself was told by the Iranian officials that on his third year of imprisonment, he was eligible for amnesty, and now we're going on 4 years. And in addition, I've even told U.S. officials when they say it's only better for Iran and the U.S. that we're talking face-to-face for your brother. I asked them, how is it possible that it's better in this case when Amir's now going on 4 years of being in prison when before him other Americans got out without these talks? Prior to that, earlier, 2 years, 2.5 years maximum. So it's very confusing to our family how this is going to help, but we want to use this opportunity to the best of our advantage.
And how is the situation of his health, and do you have access to him? Do you talk to him regularly, or your family?
You know, we are very concerned about his health. He's had recurring lung infections. He was moved from the political prisoner ward to another ward a year ago, and the conditions in the ward are not good. He actually has been dealing with a lot of recurring lung infections. My husband, who's a physician, has been very concerned about how this is going to affect him long term because he has not formally been treated or diagnosed by a physician. I know that they have facilities in the prison, but they're not adequate to really diagnose him, and so we really are concerned about his health.
And have you been talking to him recently?
So as of this past year, the prison has allowed him to make phone calls, maybe 5 minutes a day. He usually calls my mother because he wants to know how my father is doing. He only gets so many minutes every day. He has called me. He is aware that I'm here. So I'm happy that he knows that we are pushing hard for him. And, you know, his biggest concern when he calls is how his dad is. He doesn't complain about his situation, but that's just Amir, you know, and that's his personality. I know that he's suffered a lot, and we want that to be known to the officials here.